The very fact that this has actually happened has sent a satellite beam around the world saying, hey, let's be hopeful.
The next news story, which I found interesting because I've been forgetting so much of what has been on pause because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but there was the first changing of the guard in over a year.
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, I forgot. There are these ceremonial things that happened all over the world that you just forget things that have been on such an indefinite pause. But Buckingham Palace hosted its first changing of the guard ceremony since March of 2020, when the coronavirus pandemic was forced its suspension. And it happened just yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I could hear it from where I am, because I'm not far from Buckingham Palace. And it was a very loud applause.
Was it?
Apart from the mass bands playing. Yeah, it's very extraordinary. So, when we look into these tokens of tradition and heritage that live within the context of the British royal family here, and how the wonder and the awe that you wonderful United States citizens have for that,
we do.
It's very extraordinary when we see the marker of what this means, which is why I can safely say COVID is left.
Right.
It's just COVID has not left us, because when a traditional effect takes place, which is at core not just a ceremony but a ritual, and ritual binds we people in our cultures. And what's wonderful about this particular ritual is that it actually brings together the communion of world citizens. Mm-hmm. And as we've just been through a world pandemic of unprecedented global proportion, the very fact that this has actually happened has sent a satellite beam around the world saying, hey, let's be hopeful. COVID is gone, but has it left your consciousness?
Right. Absolutely. And another stunning thing to read about this, and I'm not surprised, but still stunning nonetheless, was it was the longest suspension of this since World War II.
Since World War II, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I also read, too, that since you could hear it from your home, I'm wondering, they played Whitney Houston's song One Moment in Time. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Whitney songs. So when I read that, I wonder why they chose that.
Well, just for you.
Just for me. Didn't you know that the host of Royally Us for Us Weekly needed to hear Whitney?
Well, you see, I feel, bearing in mind that there has been an eruption within the hegemony, within the hierarchy. The eruption took place because of Harry and Meghan leaving in the way that they did. Although, of course, their departure was well known about by Prince Charles, by the Queen, and also by Prince William, etc., way before we knew about it.
Right.
You can just imagine, for example, when Harry, full of love for his wife, or for the lady that he was falling in love with, arrived back and went immediately to see Her Majesty to say, I've fallen in love. Now, the first thing that she would do as a grandmother is to say, wow, who is it? Well, she's an American. Oh. And she's an actress. Oh. And she's biracial. Oh. And she's a divorcee. Oh.
Yeah.
Are you sure? And Harry would say, well, I've fallen in love. Okay, now let's take this easily. Let's just court her for a year, and then let's talk again. And then they talked again. I mean, I understand through the people that I know who come to me as clients that this is exactly what happened. And when he said, no, I'm emphatic, I want to marry, but obviously the strategy was created. And the first thing that Her Majesty said was, what happens if this doesn't work with the British people? So the whole strategy was developed right at the very beginning. It came as a shock to us, but actually the mechanism was always there, do you see? All of the possibilities. That's how pragmatic Her Majesty is, which is why she's able to fly like an eagle over the whole thing, just observing and not getting caught up in the corruption or the vilification or the negativity.